This year, there were more than 80 shootings in the last week alone. The question is, why?
But you do have to ask yourself if the combination of all of the changes, the decrease in enforcement, the bail reform, the protests, whether or not that impacts behavior in some way, crime committing behavior. And, logically, you would almost have to say it does. Otherwise, it's very hard to otherwise explain why these events are jumping.
Shootings and murders began a noticeable rise at the beginning of the year, just as a series of criminal justice reforms took hold, most notably the elimination of cash bail for a series of low-level crimes. But the trends have accelerated in recent weeks. In June, the number of shootings surged 130% compared to last June, and the number of murders has jumped more than 20% in the first half of 2020. The NYPD blames bail reform and the early release of about 2,500 inmates from city jails because of COVID-19. The NYPD says about 275 of those released inmates have been rearrested approximately 550 times. But the department could not say how that compares to normal recidivism.
We recommended 96% of that population not to be released. It was ignored. And now we have more victims and we see the lawlessness on the streets.
Eli Silverman, a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, says low morale throughout the department may be a factor. He says many officers see the defund the police movement and the surge of criminal justice reforms enacted recently as a lack of support for taking a proactive approach towards fighting crime.
And if one feels a lot of restrictions, they're going to be penalized for violating those restrictions, they are less likely to do anything. And I think that's part of what's going on.
But New York is not the only city enduring a surge in violence. Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, among other cities, have seen gun crimes spike in recent weeks. And even with the recent increase, crime in New York remains low by historical standards. Richard Aborn of the Citizens Crime Commission says changes in crime patterns can defy quick, snap judgment explanations.
Let me be clear about this. We don't always understand why crime jumps. Sometimes it jumps for reasons we cannot explain.
Alyssa Policelli, New York 1.
Concerns about safety this morning after a deadly spree of violence across New York City over the weekend. Fox 5's Robert Moses is at One Police Plaza with the details on this. Robert, what can you tell us?
Bianca, good morning to you. Later on this afternoon here at police headquarters, the department will hold a news conference outlining the monthly crime statistics. We already know the numbers from this weekend, and they are downright discouraging. This morning, the city's major tabloids recount a holiday weekend when gun violence did not take a holiday. According to new police department statistics, yesterday there were 30 shooting incidents with 48 victims, 9 of whom died. On Saturday, there were 7 incidents with 7 victims, 1 died.
We're rivaling Chicago right now. And it's ridiculous.
President Trump agrees with community activist Tony Herbert. Late yesterday, the president tweeted Chicago and New York City crime numbers are way up. 67 people shot in Chicago, 13 killed. Shootings up significantly in NYC, where people are demanding that New York Governor Cuomo and New York City Mayor act now. Federal government ready, willing, and able to help if asked. The frustration at the highest levels of the NYPD is palpable. The commanding officer of the Manhattan South Precinct tweeted, "Manhattan DA Cy Vance, where are you? No show at any shooting scene. Our community is being attacked. Where are you?" Then the commanding officer of Manhattan North responded, "Complete no show in Manhattan North. Shame." What's behind the rise in shootings? Republican City Councilman Joe Borelli blames in part the dismantling of the department's plainclothes anti-crime unit, which was responsible for getting guns off city streets.
Criminals know that the police are going to be less aggressive in going after this type of street crime, so they feel a little bit emboldened.
The police department was not spared from the weekend's gun violence. On Saturday night, a bullet pierced the windshield of a marked SUV outside the 40th precinct in the Bronx. Police say the officers inside at the time suffered minor injuries. It is not clear if they were targeted. And Chief Michael LaPetri will answer questions from the media at this afternoon's news conference here at police headquarters. It's notable that neither the police commissioner nor the mayor is expected to attend that briefing. A spokeswoman for the mayor said late yesterday that the health and safety of New Yorkers is our top priority, which is why, she continues, we are drilling down on problem spots with the NYPD.
Hi there, Shirley. This is the area here in Brooklyn where police say someone threw a lit firecracker inside of a police car while an officer was inside. Now, thankfully, that officer is expected to be okay, but police say there are multiple incidents that they are investigating at this hour that took place yesterday on 4th of July up until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Now, according to some crime stats we recently obtained from the NYPD, there were nearly 30 shootings between July 4th and 3 p.m. today, and over 40 people who were hurt. The sounds and sights of fireworks could be heard and seen no matter what borough you were in last night. But in the middle of the constant popping of colorful rockets and Roman candles illuminating the sky, there were also gunshots. There was a police-involved shooting in Astoria, Queens. No one was hurt, and a suspect was taken into custody.
We got to get it together as a people, and everybody can't keep playing the blame game.
But police are looking for several other gunmen. In Manhattan, multiple people were shot near Nagel Avenue and Academy Street. One person remains in critical condition. In the Bronx, a bullet pierced the windshield of this marked police car just outside of the 40th precinct. And in Brooklyn, near Gates and Stuyvesant Avenues, a lit firecracker was thrown inside of a police patrol car while an officer was sitting inside. He is expected to make a full recovery. According to the latest numbers from the NYPD, there were 575 incidents with 705 victims from January 1st to July 4th this year, compared to 369 incidents and 423 victims the same time last year. Today, the NYPD Chief of Detectives Rodney Harrison tweeted, "The NYPD and the community need to work together as a team to help curb the violence."
We should have a symbiotic relationship with the 38,000 police officers and the 8.5 million citizens that reside in New York City.
Dr. Darren Porcher is a former NYPD lieutenant. He agrees that now is the time to work together.
This is the time that we need to coalesce, meaning both entities, both police and community, should be able to sit down and come to a compromise as to the flow of information that is necessary to eradicate or interdict the crime conditions that have since been plaguing the city of New York.
And sadly, police also saying from yesterday, 4th of July, until 3 p.m. this afternoon, there were at least 4 people who died from gunshot wounds. Now, you heard from the NYPD Chief of Detectives there and that criminal justice expert saying that now is the time, more than ever, that police and the community need to work together to stop this violence. In the meantime, if you have any information whatsoever about any of the incidents that happened over the weekend, you're urged to give police a call right away. We are live in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn tonight. Jennifer Bisram, PIX11 News.
Incredibly disturbing. Okay.